Today I seriously thought about killing you. I contemplated.
What has Kanye done? I think it'd be easier to talk about what Kanye hasn't done, honestly. Over the past month or so, his anticipated return to social media was an avalanche so heavy the slope starts pushing into the negative quadrants of the Cartesian plane. But somehow we were surprised. I mean, I'm not gonna front, I was taken aback too. But Kanye's always been saying the questionables. Perhaps just this time around it's in a politically and socially sensitive time. Scrutiny is afoot, and so of course when you post a selfie of yourself wearing the hat of a publicized full-time racist, it's gonna get a few unfavorable comments. Follow that with comments in support of Candace Owens' ideologies in a TMZ interview where he suggests that African Americans were mentally enslaved for 400 years. Regardless of context or approach to what he says in the interview, it's baffling how one can make less sense in a single sentence. Mans would love to have a tea party with my year 13 physics teacher. It's a bit messed when the most coherent and generally agreeable thing you've said throughout the last month is poopity scoop. It should be no secret that Kanye West is utterly politically perplexing outside of his music. Inconsistent, unsure, not even worth trying to categorize on an alignment chart. It surprises me that people are doing that, but at the same time, I do think he should be criticized when he goes out and says stupid things on such a big platform. And I wouldn't normally give such a deep run through his antics in a review of an album if his music didn't beg for it. Surprise, surprise, steam the rice. This album absolutely does. To an extent anyways. It is addressed on the album and therefore is unignorable. It doesn't make the music inherently bad, let me just disclaim. I'm just saying it should be discussed. And my word, there have been some things to discuss. As much as I'm always giving reviews and opinions on art by artists, most of which are highly unlikely to watch my online content, let alone out of the many others that do the same here, Kanye just cuts out the middleman and just says he doesn't listen to anyone less successful than he is, which is lucky for me actually, because my dad is Jeff Bezos and my uncle works for Nintendo. Ye is a personal statement on mental health, as shown by a cover with scrawls of bipolar personality disorder, fronting the mere 7 tracks that it offers. You'd expect that this album would dig into that, and it does. Just barely. It's a personal statement, believe me there. I feel as if a lot of the personal thoughts and anecdotes that this album offers are given in such short, sporadic bursts. However, at the same time, I can't really discount those dead serious mentions of fentanyl, public pressure, and raising a daughter. I guess I'm just saying that while Ye sounds sensitive and is putting itself up as an introspective album, it isn't that introspective. We'll get back to that soon. In all honesty, production-wise, this is no different from the looseness and rawness of The Life of Pablo. It just feels less tedious, unlike Life of Pablo, because it doesn't have 20 tracks this time around. And it might do me favors to list the things that I really like about this album before I get accused of thinking that it isn't that good. Problem is that the accusation is pretty right. I say nearly because it is actually good, even through dodgy borderline defenses of Russell Simmons on Yikes, and an awkward hook on All Mine that seems like an impression of Future's verse on King's Dead.
Yeah, you supermodel thing. Then that ass busting out the bottom. I'ma lose my mind in it. Crazy that medulla oblongata. Get the rubbing on my lap, get the chili at the bottom. Buck it up.
The clattering and sloppy mixing on Ghost Town towards the end seeming to be packed with ray gun sound effects. Kid Cudi singing on that track, which starts off really nice and then takes a nosedive right after like a negative parabola.
But everything I tried.
Kanye doesn't really keep us posted on the motivation behind his antics in the public, and I'm hoping that the sole reason isn't just pinning it on his bipolar personality disorder, a subject that he seems to simultaneously somehow be centering his album around and not honing into at all. The man says that the public pressure after he said those controversial things caused a lot of stress for him and his family. Now that's a fair thing to dig into, but does that really give a reason to why you said it in the first place? But there is actual heart and soul put into this album in its shining moments that has made me warm up to it more over time. The lyrics might read more like streams of consciousness, but it's down to their delivery that makes it come off quite sincere. Except on track 1. I really have to say that one just has a cool flow as opposed to heartful lyrics.
Let me hit it raw like fuck the outcome. Hey, none of us would be here without come. Hey.
We've heard the now famous outcome line and the also now famous titty line, and even though they have little placement within the tracks they're on when it comes to, you know, making sense, they're still funny lines, right? Every now and then you listen to an album with a feature so outstanding from an artist you've never heard of, and you'll suddenly be absolutely infatuated with said artist's performance. Yes, it's 070 Shake.
I put my hand on a stove to see if I still bleed. Yeah. And nothing hurts anymore, I feel kind of free.
What a great saving grace to a messy song. Production-wise, I have gripes with how slopped together this thing sounds, not to discredit some of these great beats, and I understand making your album feel volatile and like it's on the verge of falling apart, or making a song minimal or empty to emphasize what is already there, but so many of these songs just sound barren and empty in just a savory, unfulfilling manner, as if it's not empty for the sake of emphasizing, but empty, it's just empty. There is brevity to be praised, but only until you're underusing all your minutes and potential. With that said, the chopped up crowd screeches on the last verse of All Mine are amazing and freaky.
If it ain't all about the income, hey, let me see you go ahead and spend some.
The soulful gospel streams on Wouldn't Leave and Violent Crimes are gorgeous, and even though I have gripes with the way that this track is pieced together, Ghost Town has so many wonderful, beautiful, and even moving pieces to its puzzle that weren't really bothered to snap into the place. They were frustratingly just left there. I can't really bring myself to give it any more overall praise than that, because its flaws just keep tapping at my shoulder. I was hoping for a bit more closure, or a more fulfilling set of 7 tracks, but don't you worry. Kanye's done something even better. 6 out of 10.